What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Jake Brown Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Brown. It's a beautiful day in Olympia, Washington. It's not, it's raining and it's cold, but it's a beautiful day nonetheless. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be recording another podcast. And more importantly, I'm going to Jamaica next week. And I am ridiculously excited for that. So, hey, all in all, life is pretty damn good. I can't complain. Hope everyone out there is having a good week, a good day. I mean, I guess it's only Tuesday. There's really not much to this week yet. But either way, I hope your week is going fantastic. Something I kind of spaced on this week, and I think for the first time in history, well, my short history, I honestly forgot it is the Super Bowl. We are a few days away from the Super Bowl. How did I space that? I used to be like just so into football, all season long. And then, usually, typically, and I know they've gotten away from that a little bit in the past, but there's typically from, the conference championship games to the Super Bowl, there's that 2-week buffer. And that was always the longest 2 weeks ever when you're a diehard, You just want the Super Bowl to hurry up and get here. Well, I didn't really pay attention this year. And last week went super quick. And then I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and I was like, holy shit, the Super Bowl's this weekend. I just completely spaced it. I don't even have any plans for the Super Bowl. No plans. I'm probably going to go to my girlfriend's house because she has cable. And I'll probably bring some pizza dough. And I'll probably make a couple pizzas. And probably smoke some hippie lettuce, if you know what I'm saying. And probably just kick back with the dogs. And we're just going to relax. Watch some football. Eat some pizza. Smoke some hippie lettuce. It'll be a nice, relaxing day. I really do enjoy the Super Bowl. And I'm no different than anyone else. At my most hardcore moments of being a fan of the NFL and the Super Bowl specifically, I still was obsessed with the commercials. Really, just like anybody else. They're hilarious. I feel like they were kind of better, in the 90s and maybe in the early to mid 2000s, before tech really got involved. And I feel like, now it seems like a lot of the commercials are more centered around, IT and just, I don't know, just tech in general. They're just, they're okay, but I miss the old Budweiser and Bud Light commercials, and Doritos would always do cool stuff, and Coke would always do really cool stuff, and all those crazy wacky commercials that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make, probably not that much to make, more just to buy the airtime to have it shown during the Super Bowl. I don't know, it's just different then. I'm not saying it's better or worse, It's just different. I'm kind of hoping that, we get more product commercials. I hope just Doritos makes a comeback. Or McDonald's or Burger King. They just do something that's just off the fucking wall hilarious. I don't know. It probably won't happen. It'll probably be commercials for smartphones and fucking pharmaceuticals. Blah. So lame. But either way, I'm going to be having a great time. I'm going to be having a great time eating some pizza, smoking some weed, watching some football, and watching some commercials. Like, is this really the only time of year that people get excited for commercials? I can't think of another event anywhere, anywhere where we get excited for commercials. Nobody gets excited for commercials. Well, we do for the Super Bowl. So, look, I wanted to go through my own little personal top 5 all-time favorite Super Bowls. Okay? And really, like, there's only one favorite. And if you know me, like, you know what that one's going to be. So, really, 2 through 5, I mean, you could kind of interchange them, mix them up, mix and match, whatever. Like, I think if anything, it's not so much that I rank them from like my least favorite to my favorite. These are probably the ones that I found to be the most entertaining for me personally. Coming in at number 5. And I know a lot of you are probably not going to remember this one. I mean, if you're around my age, my generation, you should remember Super Bowl a 22 between, and I'm calling it how it is, the Washington Redskins, when they absolutely destroyed the Denver Broncos. Doug Williams had an absolute field day on Denver secondary. Oh my God. It was so beautiful. And I got to be honest here. As much as I like grew up hating the Broncos, like especially John Elway, and even to this day, I don't like the number 7. Man, there's just something about it. I can't stand that. No, there's not just something about it. It's fucking John Elway's number. And where I grew up, we did not like the Broncos. And you got to keep in mind, this is back when Seattle was in the AFC West. So they were playing the Raiders, they were playing the Chargers, they were playing the Chiefs, and they were playing the Broncos in their division. Those are some great rivalries, even though Seattle lost most of the time to Denver. They were some great games. For example, that game at the old Kingdome, Dave Craig throws an interception, and Steve Largent absolutely just lays the shit out of that safety. I don't even remember who it was. Was it Steve Atwater? I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember who it was. We thought that Largent murdered that safety on the field. He hit him so hard. So hard. Like it was unbelievable. Largent was not the biggest man on a football field, but holy shit. We thought he killed Denver safety. So like this hatred that I had, for all things Broncos, all things Denver, the number 7. I hate the color orange. I don't even like horses. I don't even like horses because of the Broncos. Give me all the glue. Give me all the glue. Melt them down. So I really did enjoy this Super Bowl. I liked watching those Redskins teams with the Hogs. Remember that's what they called their O-line back then, the Hogs. That was, I think everyone was thinking that was going to be a much better game than it was. And I mean, that was kind of par for the course for Denver's first 3 Super Bowls. Like they just got annihilated. And Washington and Denver comes in at number 5 for my top 5 most entertaining / favorite Super Bowls. Number 4. Now, okay, just because I said all that, I just talked a bunch of shit just now. I just talk mad shit about the color orange and horses and Denver and John Elway and the number 7. Look, Super Bowl 32, when Elway and the Broncos finally got that, so-called monkey off their back and they beat the Packers 31-24, I can respect greatness. All right. I think both things can be true. I can, from a competitive standpoint, from being a loyal Seahawk fan, like I can appreciate the rivalry and, boo, and, hate the Broncos and root against them, blah, blah, blah. But I can still appreciate how great John Elway was. God, I can't believe I'm saying this. Jason Bartlett, if you're out there listening to this, look, ultimately, we got the last laugh. However, I can still appreciate greatness. And I don't care what anybody says. John Elway is one of the best quarterbacks ever. Ever. He should be on everyone's short list, whether it's a top 3 or a top 5 or whatever. John Elway, there's nothing John Elway couldn't do on a football field. Hands down, he was the man. Okay. And watching him get absolutely annihilated in 3 previous Super Bowls, I have to admit, I was happy when he finally won that first one. Remember the kind of the helicopter spin when I don't know, I think they're on the 10, it's first or second and goal, and he just takes off running. And he just lowered his head and jumped and tried to go through multiple defenders and flew up in the air. And his whole body spun like helicopter rotors. And he didn't get in, but holy shit. You knew right then, Denver's winning this game. Denver is winning this game. And they ended up going back to back. And then he retired. Look, as much as I hated the Broncos, if that's what it took to get John Elway, that's what it took to get Elway out of the NFL, fine. Take 2 Super Bowls, right off into the sunset. I was happy for him, though. He definitely had some heartbreak over the years. And seeing him get that one, that whole team get that one was pretty cool. I can admit that, despite all the shit that I talked when I started this show. Number 3, Super Bowl 34. The St. Louis Rams over the Tennessee Titans 23-16. This was the season where Trent Green, who was supposed to be the starting quarterback for the St. Louis Rams, blew out his knee in a preseason game. And who stepped in? Only NFL Hall of Famer Kurt fucking Warner. I mean, granted, he wasn't Kurt fucking Warner at that point. He was just Kurt Warner. Nobody knew who this dude was. And then, holy hell, you talk about a season of seasons. He was a king among kings that year. I think he won did he win the NFL MVP? I don't know. I didn't Google that far down the rabbit hole. But they were called the greatest show on turf for a reason. And I was in college when that happened. And I remember watching that with some friends. And that came down to literally the last play when Steve McNair threw the ball. The Tennessee receiver caught it. As he's getting tackled, he stretches for the goal line, and he is legit 1.5 yards short. And they would have won that game. They had won that. Well, they at least would have tied that game. But I don't know. Who knows? Either way, St. Louis held strong, won the Super Bowl. And that catapulted Kurt Warner into stardom. That catapulted him. He had a great run with St. Louis. Not so great with the Giants. Those were a couple forgettable seasons. and then an amazing run with the Arizona Cardinals, where he ended up going back to another Super Bowl, and they ended up losing, I believe, to the Steelers. But man, what a career! What a career! From not being drafted at a northern Iowa, to going to the Arena League of all places, and then signing a free agent contract. I don't know, basically with like the practice squad, it seemed like, who knows, with the Rams, completely unknown. Worked his way up to second on the depth chart, and then when Trent Green went down with the injury, they tossed him the keys. Chance favors the prepared. Remember that, kids. Chance favors the prepared. You don't know when your shot's going to be. You don't know. It could come in a preseason game. It could come in the Super Bowl. I mean, look at Tom Brady when he got his shot. Wasn't that partway through that season, getting close to the playoffs? Bledsoe took that wicked shot to his chest, trying to run out of bounds, and he was done. Like, that was the end of Bledsoe, essentially. Brady steps in, never looks back. Chance favors the prepared. So all you kids out there, keep yourself prepared. You never know when your shot's going to be. That was one hell of a Super Bowl. I will never forget that. R.I.P. Steve McNair. Man, Air McNair. Alcorn State, that dude just chucked the ball everywhere. And he was supposed to be more of a running quarterback. But all he did was throw the ball in college. It was really odd why they considered him a running quarterback. His nickname was literally Air McNair. He threw the shit out of that ball. If only he would have thrown it 2 yards further. Number 2. I mean, you want to talk about an entertaining Super Bowl. Super Bowl 42. Allow me to refresh your memory. The New York Giants, who had not exactly a stellar regular season. I believe they were a wild card team, and they essentially played all road games all the way through the playoffs. And they went up against, at that time, was it the completely undefeated through the regular season and through the postseason, New England Patriots. Trying to go, I want to say, what would it have been? How many games did they play then? 18-0, I think they were, going into the Super Bowl. They were trying to go 19-0. They would have been only the second undefeated team ever. That's including the Super Bowl. They are the second undefeated team through the regular season. And holy shit, what a game that was. I mean, what a fucking game that was. That's the one where David Tyree caught that pass on the top of his helmet that Manning somehow got out of the grasp of the entire Patriot defensive line and just chucks a fucking duck 50 yards down the field. And somehow Tyree caught it on his goddamn helmet. What? That was such a fun game to watch. It doesn't matter whether you're a Giants fan. It doesn't matter whether you hate the Patriots or Belichick or Brady. Who gives a shit? That game was entertaining. I mean, entertaining. 100%. That's still one of the greatest Super Bowls that I feel like has ever been played. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Great game. Man. Talk about exciting. And I do have some runners up. These are my honorable mention, not runners up. These are my honorable mention. There's two that jump out at me. Okay? Two that really jump out at me. One is I believe it's the second time that the Niners and the Cincinnati Bengals played, when Cincinnati had the lead fourth quarter with at least 2 minutes, but it might have even been a minute and a half. And Joe Montana marches the 49ers all the way down the field. All the way down the field. And I don't remember who caught the touchdown. It was either John Taylor or Jerry Rice. Obviously, it was one of those two because they caught all the touchdowns then. One of those two caught, and San Francisco ends up winning. I don't know why that game sticks out in my mind, but it really does. I don't know. Maybe it was just all the colors, the red and the gold and the orange and the black, and like the crowd was all rowdy. And I don't know, like for whatever reason, I think San Francisco was even an underdog in that game. Like Boomer Esiason and Cincinnati, they had one hell of a fucking team that season. They were just destroying everybody. And I believe they were the favorite going into that. They ran into Cool Joe, baby. Cool Joe. And the GOAT, arguably the greatest ever football player, Jerry Rice. I mean, you kidding me? That team was also loaded. They had Ronnie fucking Lott. The dude literally chopped a finger off during a game, had it taped and bandaged, and then went back out and kept playing in the second half. Are you shitting me, bro? You're not beating a Niners team if they have guys who are going to cut their fingers off because they're so mangled, and tape them up, and then just keep going. You're not winning. You don't beat that. Okay? You don't beat that. And then the other one that stands out to me, okay, I'm just going to say, all I'm going to say is the score through three quarters. And you tell me. I'm just going to say the score through three quarters. All right? 28-3. 28-3. The Falcons were beating the Patriots. Through three quarters, 28-3. We all know what happens. I mean, holy shit. Talk about flipping the script. The fucking Patriots were a runaway freight train in that fourth quarter. And they scored, and they scored, and they scored, and they scored, and they scored. They just kept scoring. Unbelievable. It was good stuff. So those are my two. Didn't quite make the cut. I guess if I did a top 7, those two games would have been in there. Hey, like we all have our own top 5. I would love to know what your guys' top 5 Super Bowls are. At Jake Brown Pod on X/Twitter and Instagram. Or feel free to leave a comment under the episode. Wherever your platform that you consume your podcasts, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, wherever, leave a comment. What is your top 5 most entertaining Super Bowls? Give me your list. All right. I mean, I think we all know what my favorite all-time Super Bowl was. My favorite all-time Super Bowl ever. It has to be. I mean, there's really not even like a drum roll needed for this. There's should be no lead up. I think it's pretty obvious. It's Super Bowl 48 when the Seattle Seahawks absolutely annihilated the goddamn Denver Broncos. Oh my God, that felt so good. Jason Bartlett, suck a dick. Fucking suck it, Bartlett. Man, that felt so good. Not the dick sucking part. He didn't suck it. There was no actual, it's a metaphorical suck. It's not like a literal suck. Okay, just so we're clear on that. Nobody was sucked. I mean, I'm sure some people got some sucky that day, but no one was sucking me during Super Bowl 48. Nobody was sucking me, all right? Can we just 48-3? Oh my God. And I got to be honest with you. I was nervous because you got to remember that, I mean, that was the year that Peyton Manning threw like 50 touchdown passes and had like one pick or some shit. I mean, he was lighting the league on fire, torching secondaries, fucking torching them. But on the flip side, the Legion of Boom was kind of fucking torching offenses too. So it was kind of like the unstoppable force against the immovable object kind of thing. And I think Denver was the unstoppable force. But this game, the immovable object was not to be moved. And there was absolutely fuck all that Denver could do on the old Legion of Boom. And then coming out of halftime when Percy Harvin took that kickback, took the opening kick of the third quarter back for that touchdown, I was like, oh my God, I remember at one point, I just said to myself, I can't believe this is happening. I can't fucking believe this is, like, in my life, this is happening. I mean, think back to like all the shit seasons that Seattle had. You know, they came into the league in 76. They were bad. And they had some okay seasons, you know, throughout the 80s, but there was a lot of mediocre play. The 90s, there's a lot of fucking average going on with some glimpses, you know. There's some glimpses, but there was a lot of average that was going on. And then they finally made that Super Bowl in 2005 when they lost in Detroit to the Steelers. And it's like when they, like that 05, maybe that 04, when they got Hasselbeck and they drafted Alexander, and it's like things kind of seemed to change. Holmgren was there. Things kind of seemed to change then, you know? It felt like there was a little more longevity with the quality of football that was being played. But it was hard, man. It was hard to kind of exhale and relax. I think until like partway through that fourth quarter, you know, I was like, oh my God, I think they're actually going to win the Super Bowl. And it was just like, chef's kiss. It was a fucking chef's kiss. That they beat the goddamn Denver Broncos. That was the best part of the whole thing. That's what made it even more sweet. Okay? Even more sweet. Knowing that victory, like of all the teams that they could have beat, all those AFC teams that they could have beat, of all of them, the fact that they beat the Broncos, and I believe, wasn't Elway the general manager then? I think he was, because he's the one who got Peyton Manning to come to Denver. So the fact that Seattle just fucking curb stomped them, oh my God, it made it just that much sweeter. I think second place, if there was another team they could have beat, the Raiders. Third, the Chiefs. You see a theme here? Really, all the AFC West teams. I feel like the games against the Chargers, you know, because the Chargers suck too. So really, when Seattle and at that point San Diego played, they both sucked. It was just like, I remember one game, the final score was like, I was in high school or maybe even in middle school. The score was like 6-3. Like that was that was bad for TV right there. That was not a good product to watch on TV. I think I actually went and did homework instead of watching that entire game. That's kind of what we were dealing with a lot of the time. So there's my number one. Like that one. And I know, like, you know, Seattle got back the next year. They had a chance against the Patriots. It didn't work out. Um, 3 Super Bowl appearances in general. Uh, it was just cool. Those were cool times. I believe yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of the parade that went through Seattle, and I debated going, but ultimately I really don't like people that much, so that wasn't going to happen. But I know like people were pulling their kids out of school, and I was all for it. Like you never know when something like that is going to happen again. I mean, like just look at Chicago Cub fans. I mean, I know they won the World Series, what 5-6 years ago, whatever. But what was it before that win? Like 80 or 90 years. Like generations of people had come and gone, and the Cubs were just hot garbage. You know, I mean, you never know when, and there are still teams who've never made the Super Bowl. Like Detroit has never made the Super Bowl. Ever. Ever. Think how old that franchise is. They have never made it. Who knows when they're going to make it? I mean, I'm kind of hoping they do in the near future. You know? What a cool thing for a city, for a region, for the whole state. And like, hey man, like I get it. I'm from Oregon. I'm an Oregonian. But we didn't have an NFL team. So kind of by default, if you grow up in the Pacific Northwest, like the Seahawks are always on, they were always on TV. That just kind of turns into your team kind of by default. And a lot of, I had some friends who liked the Raiders. Those were kind of like the Raiders or the 49ers. They were like the next closest teams. And I feel like we did see a lot of those games too. They would get aired in Oregon a lot as well. But for the most part, we got all Seahawk games for the NFL. So you couldn't help but be a fan, even though they were just hot garbage for such a long time. Man, how good did those throwback uniforms look? Silver pants with that blue. They never should have switched, honestly. They could have just revamped those colors, keep the silver pants, keep the blue, keep the silver helmets, put a modern twist on it. Just fucking let Nike do their thing. But I don't like this navy blue. Ugh. It's so boring. And they look exactly like Tennessee. They played Tennessee this past season, and you couldn't tell who the fuck was who. Everybody looked the same out there. There's so much navy blue. It was just silly. Like the helmets look the same. Like the pants, everything just looked the same. I was like, who is creating these uniforms? Why are we copying other teams? Go back to the blues. That royal blue with the green, the silver pants, the silver helmet. It's just so good. It's classic. And I get, like, they didn't win a lot in those uniforms, but that doesn't mean that they can't still. There's still good juju there, man. There's still some good juju there. Bring them back full time. We got Kansas City and San Francisco. Currently, San Francisco is a 1.5 favorite, which is basically a push. Basically a push. Over under 47.5 points. I think the fact that they're playing indoors in Vegas, it's very possible. I mean, here's how I see this playing out. This game could either be 21-17, or it could be like 45-38. Like, who fucking knows? Remember when the Chiefs and the Rams, they were supposed to go play in Mexico City, and because of whatever field conditions or whatever the reason was, they ended up playing in LA, and it's like neither team played defense that entire game. I don't think it'll quite be like that, but when you have Mahomes on the field, and don't tell me Brock Purdy and that offense can't score points, because they can. They could easily combined go over 47 and a half points. Easily. But there's always those Super Bowl jitters, always the Super Bowl jitters. Who you got winning this game? At Jake Brown Pod. I'm just curious what your pick is. Anybody betting? Who's out there betting? Do people bet on, like, I mean, there's, obviously you can do your point spreads, but like the different parlays, like who's going to score the first touchdown? How long is the national anthem going to go? How long? It's so all over the board. You never know. Someone might just decide to do some batshit crazy rendition of our national anthem that takes 5 minutes, when the over under is like 2.5 minutes. You never know. You just never know. I think that, and I don't know what the time frame is for that bet, I think the Star Spangled Banner is going to go over whatever the time frame is. And I think Deebo Samuel is going to score the first touchdown. I don't know how. Could be receiving, could be rushing, could be special teams, but I just think Deebo is going to score. I think he'll be the first one to score. Ultimately, like I said a couple episodes ago, I'm done picking against Patrick Mahomes. I'm done doing that shit. I'm not doing it. As good as San Francisco is, Kansas City is just as good, just as explosive. Their defense may not be quite as strong, but they are definitely bend and they don't break, and they play as good as they need to play to win games. And I don't see why they won't do that on Sunday. So that's my pick. I'm just picking straight up here. I think Kansas City is going to win. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, though. I hope everyone has a good place to go hang out, and hopefully you're going to spend it with some friends or some family. You're going to have good food. Like the Super Bowl really is like our unofficial, official national holiday. And it's unfortunate that that Monday, the next Monday, isn't like a day off from work. It should be. I mean, there's no reason that it should be other than, we just want another holiday to not work. So, hey, that's my show for today. Really just all football. This is just all football. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And I hope you get outside, even though it's kind of raining. Maybe you're listening someplace where it's sunny out. I do have some listeners in Spain. I will be coming to Spain this summer. I'm going to be there toward the end of August. So maybe you guys are going to watch Super Bowl. I don't know. But thanks for tuning in. And I will talk with you all later.